Made in the implementation of coordinated immigration enforcement operations across the country. With us this afternoon, it's Lieutenant General Musikidi, who is the Deputy National Commissioner for Policing, but also the NATJOINTS Chair. And then we also have Major General Joseph Jalisi, who is one of the co-chairs of the NATJOINTS from the SANDF. I'm now going to hand over to the chair of the NATJOINTS to provide us with a progress report. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, Brigadier Mate, and the program director of this afternoon's media briefing. Let me acknowledge the presence of my colleagues from GCIS and departments whose responsibility is to ensure that we continuously populate this information to keep the country abreast on our activities, particularly on the safety and security measures. To the members of the media that are always willing and are always informing our country of the developments, particularly when you look at the issues of major concern, these measures of security and stability of South Africa. Today, the National Joint Operational and Intelligence Structure, commonly or as abbreviated NATJOINTS, provides an update on the country's security environment and the law enforcement response to illegal immigration, the ongoing multidisciplinary operations, public order policing, border security, and a state of readiness for our upcoming events. As you will recall, prior to the 30th of June, the President of the country, His Excellency President Ramaphosa, gave the country the briefing and highlighted the 5 points that we are going to be embarking on in implementing the anti-foreigner immigrants stability response plan. Just as a reminder, those include enforcing of the law, which is basically what we are briefing on this afternoon, the securing of South African borders, strengthening of immigration systems, closing of the gaps and policies and laws, as well as working with other sister countries in this regard. This briefing comes just over a month, to be precise, 30 plus 8 days since the 30th of June 2026, where South Africans and civil society groups took to the streets their well-deserved constitutional right of demonstrations over what they then call the illegal immigration protest marches. I must say this tested the country's security capability and effectiveness of coordinated planning across government. I am pleased today to report that South Africa remains stable, law and order continue to prevail, our security forces continue to maintain a secure and safe and secure environment for everyone who lives in, works, and visits our country. Over the past weekend, South Africans participated in the voter registration process ahead of the upcoming local government elections earmarked for November 2026. NATJOINTS activated its election security plan in support of Electoral Commission, ensuring that law enforcement agencies are deployed throughout the country to secure registration stations and respond to any security-related incidents in this regard. We are pleased to report that the voter registration weekend, which was the second voter registration ahead of LGE, was successfully concluded without any major security incidents. This demonstrates the maturity of our democracy and professionalism of our security forces. As we move closer to the local government elections, NATJOINTS has already activated an extensive electoral operational plan, which I have no doubt sitting here today that it will be implemented with precision. This plan includes visible policing, intelligence gathering, protection of election infrastructure, rapid response capability, crowd management, and close coordination with Electoral Commission and all relevant stakeholders. South Africans can therefore be assured that government is fully prepared to provide a safe and secure environment throughout the election period. As we prepare for the local government elections, NATJOINTS remain concerned about the matters that are continuously being experienced on political party members and councillors in various parts of our country. We are issuing a stern warning to everyone who is planning attacks, assassination, or acts of violence for political gain. You will be arrested, prosecuted, and upon conviction, face lengthy prison sentences. There is absolutely no justification for taking the life of another simply because of political intolerance, political differences, or political contestations. The Political Killing Task Team, known as PKTT, has consistently demonstrated its expertise and capability in solving even the most complex, politically motivated murder cases and related offenses. Regardless of how long investigation may take, since its establishment in 2018, this multidisciplinary and multisectoral task team has arrested more than 400 suspects, including over 180 alleged hitmen linked to the murders of councillors, political leaders, and party members. From January to date, several politically motivated murders have been recorded ahead of local government elections. This includes the murder of MKP member in Gauteng, a Democratic Alliance ward candidate councillor in Western Cape, 2 ANC councillors, 1 in Eastern Cape and 1 in KwaZulu-Natal, and 2 EFF members in Gauteng. These are men and women who were friends, who were family members, who were aunts, fathers, or mothers of somebody. All of these cases are under investigations by the PKTT, and we are confident that those responsible will be identified, arrested, and brought before the courts. A total of 7 suspects have so far been arrested in conjunction with these politically motivated murders. This includes 1 suspect arrested for a murder of a Democratic Alliance ward councillor in the Western Cape, 2 suspects arrested for a murder of ANC councillor in the Eastern Cape, 3 suspects arrested for a murder of EFF member in Bronkhorstspruit, Gauteng, and 1 suspect arrested for a murder of EFF ward councillor in Valmansdal, again in Gauteng. These arrests demonstrate that those responsible for politically motivated violence will be pursued relentlessly. We once again warn everyone intending to destabilize the electoral environment or intimidate political parties, candidates, or communities through violence that law enforcement is ready and it remains ready. Those who commit these crimes will be found, arrested, and brought before the courts. NATJOINTS remain committed to ensuring that local government elections are conducted in a safe, secure, and peaceful environment where every South African can exercise their democratic right without fear or intimidation. Today, as we just take over a month since demonstration that took place on the 30th of June, the operations concluded on that day remain an excellent example of coordinated planning by NATJOINTS, where all government departments, law enforcement agencies, and security services worked together to maintain stability across the country. Our objectives were simple: to protect lives, to protect property, safeguard the economy, to protect constitutional rights, while ensuring that criminality was dealt with decisively. These objectives were achieved. The country remained functional, critical infrastructure continued to operate, and the overwhelming majority of South Africans went about their daily activities without disruptions. Since then, protest actions linked to anti-illegal immigrants campaign have reduced significantly. The country remains stable, law enforcement continue to prevail, our intelligence community are continuing to observe, and we will respond accordingly. Although protest activities has declined, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and KwaZulu-Natal continue to experience isolated and localized demonstrations. The majority of these protests have remained peaceful and within the confines of the law. Majority of these demonstrations remain peaceful. I will give a breakdown why I'm saying majority remain within the bounds of the law. Where incidents of violence, intimidation, road blockades, damage to infrastructure, or criminal conduct have occurred, law enforcement agencies have responded swiftly and in accordance with the public order policing protocols. During the month of July, a total of 212 public order incidents were recorded nationally. This consists of 128 peaceful marches, 70 gatherings, 9 unrest-related incidents requiring police intervention, and 5 incidents involving looting equally remain attended to swiftly. As a consequence of criminal activity committed during these incidents, 205 criminal cases were opened, 354 suspects have since been arrested. These figures indicate that while South Africans continue to exercise their constitutional right responsibly, law enforcement agencies remain ready to respond wherever those rights are abused through violence or criminal conduct. Government continues to implement a whole of government and a whole of society approach to law enforcement. Departments are working together to address illegal employment, labor exploitation, undocumented migrants, and other forms of non-compliance. In this regard, a total of 6,317 labor inspections continue conducting workplace inspection. Labor inspectors continue conducting workplace inspections throughout the country. These inspections form part of national multidisciplinary, high-impact blitz operations coordinated alongside the Department of Employment and Labor. The inspections ensure compliance with labor legislations while protecting both workers and legitimate businesses. Reflecting on Operation Chanela, we indicate that it remains one of government's most successful crime-fighting initiatives. Daily operations are continuing in all 9 of our provinces through intelligence-driven deployments targeting wanted suspects, illegal firearms, drugs, organized crime, dangerous criminals, and undocumented or illegal foreign nationals. During July 2026 alone, more than 16,208 illegal foreign nationals were arrested through Operation Chanela and related multidisciplinary operations. From January to date, 59,947 illegal foreign nationals have been arrested for being in the country. These operations will continue without interruptions. Our law enforcement agencies remain committed to enforcing the Immigration Act and all other applicable legislation fairly, professionally, and without fear or favor. Included in this plan, compliance inspections at spaza shops also continues across all 9 provinces. This inspection seeks to ensure compliance with municipal bylaws, food safety regulations, business licensing requirements, and immigration legislation where applicable. During July alone, Eastern Cape inspected 14,948 spaza shops, Free State inspected 10,406, Gauteng inspected 2,631, KwaZulu-Natal 2,617, Limpopo 1,315, Mpumalanga 229, Northern Cape 915, and Northwest Province inspected 1,101. These inspections will continue as part of government's broader compliance inspection program. Along our borders, border security remains one of government's key priorities. The Border Management Authority continues strengthening border operations through technological, intelligence-led interventions and multidisciplinary joint operation. You'll recall that this is the second strategic objective of anti-immigrant or foreign national plan to secure our borders and ensure that country remain clean. The introduction of vehicle targeting system at Libombo port of entry significantly improves the detection of stolen vehicle, smuggling activities, and other illicit cross-border crimes. Joint operations between Border Management Authority, South African Police Service, South African National Defence Force, South African Revenue Services and Customs, and Transport, amongst other departments, continue to enhance border security. During June 2026, 93 joint border law enforcement operations were conducted. In July, to date, 81 additional operations were conducted. These operations continue to produce positive results. As of the 3rd of August 2026, government has repatriated a total of 77,184 undocumented foreign nationals to various countries. This number has since escalated to date. Between the 1st of April to the 31st of July, 18,816 persons were formally deported, while 3,016 undocumented foreign nationals are currently awaiting deportation at Lindela Repatriation Center. We have begun demobilizing of repatriation center or temporary repatriation center in Musina following the successful processing and repatriation of thousands of illegal and undocumented foreign nationals. Just over 500 individuals remain at the center and will be repatriated to their respective countries in the coming days. This marks a significant milestone in our coordinated operations, which has been carried out in an orderly, humane, and lawful manner through collaboration of all relevant government departments, foreign missions in South Africa, and our stakeholders. Government will continue enforcing immigration legislation while ensuring that all enforcement measures remain lawful, humane, and consistent with the constitutional and applicable legislations. Equally, we want to thank all operators, officials, members of the society who came forward during these trying times. We are, however, increasingly concerned about the levels of misinformation circulating on our various social media platforms. Several videos are currently being shared, falsely suggesting that certain criminal incidents are linked to the anti-illegal immigration campaigns. We have seen the recirculation and continuous recirculation of videos that some are imported videos. This is not correct. We urge the public not to share unverified information and act responsibly in this regard. The following incidents remain under investigation and are unrelated to anti-illegal immigration operations. In KwaZulu-Natal, the fatal shooting of a Zambian truck driver on the 26th of June along South Coast Road, the murder of a Ugandan national in Escort, a Ghanaian national who was shot and killed in Nyanga, in the Western Cape, in what is believed to be an extortion-related incidents. All the above are still under police investigation. On the 23rd of July 2026, a 23-year-old Nigerian national died after collapsing while in police custody during a SABC operation in Belleville, where drugs and unlicensed firearm was recovered. The matter is under investigation by the Independent Police Investigation Directorate, IPET. In KwaZulu-Natal, following the murder of an Ethiopian national in Elandslaagte, 2 suspects have since been arrested. In Gauteng, on the 28th of June 2026, members of Tshwane District Anti-Drug Unit seized approximately 900 grams of cat insecticide. A 60-year-old Nigerian national complained of ill health and later collapsed and died. The incident remains under investigation. Our message to South Africans: as NATJOINTS, we want to reiterate that we remain focused. South Africa is governed by the rule of law. None of us is above the law. No person may take law unto their own hands. Everyone has the constitutional right to protest peacefully or demonstrate. Nobody has the right to intimidate communities, destroy properties, loot businesses, or commit acts of violence or force anyone to do so. Law enforcement agencies will continue enforcing the law fairly and impartially. Operation Chanela continues. Multidisciplinary compliance inspection will continue. Border security operation will continue. Criminal investigations will continue. We further urge all foreign nationals living in South Africa to ensure that they are properly documented and comply with all immigration and other applicable laws. South Africa is a sovereign country. As I indicated, it is ruled by the rule of law. Ahead of us, we are going to be observing the SADC Summit, 46th Summit in Durban in KwaZulu-Natal. NATJOINTS is fully prepared for the upcoming 46th SADC Summit, which is currently underway. South Africans will welcome 12 heads of states and government together with the delegates from across the Southern African Development Community, SADC. Comprehensive security plans have already been activated. All law enforcement, intelligence, and emergency services are working together to ensure the successful hosting of this important regional event. Additional operational details will be communicated closer to the summit. In conclusion, South Africans should remain assured that the country's security forces remain fully prepared, fully coordinated, and fully committed to maintaining peace, stability, and the rule of law. We thank all law-abiding citizens for their cooperation and continue to call on everyone to reject misinformation, reject vigilantism, and work together with law enforcement and building a safer South Africa. I thank you.
Well, thank you. That was Lieutenant General Musikili, the chairperson of the NATJOINTS, alongside Major General Joseph Chalisi from the NCNDF, who is the co-chair of the NATJOINTS. Very key figures coming out of that press conference, confirming that in July alone, we arrested 16,208 illegal foreigners, and from January to date, more than 59,900. I'm now going to open the floor for the question and answer session. Can we please keep it short so that we can accommodate the IEC briefing, which is expected to start at around 1:15. Thank you, colleagues. Okay, Kelvin.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Calvin from SABC News. The preparedness for the upcoming local elections. I remember this past weekend during registrations, I didn't see even a single policeman in the stations that I visited. I started in GP Hostel, I went to Dube Hostel, I went to Orlando Home Affairs. I didn't see any police.
Just because we are not there, if you're not seeing them, it doesn't mean we are not there. Intelligence is on the ground.
During local government elections. And also lastly, are you following a lead on the killing of Durban councillor who was killed yesterday?
The PKTT is assigned to that particular case.
Okay, proceed.
Okay. Junior Kumalo from Newsroom Africa. Is there a worry that these anti-illegal foreign protests that are taking place might be linked to attempts to try and derail the local government elections that are coming up? From just the statement that you read out, it seemed like there might be a possible link between the two. And when it comes to the voter registration, you spoke about how successful this was, but there has been consistently a challenge when it comes to some of the voting stations being opened on time with some protests taking place. Is there a way to try and anticipate such protests, and especially those areas that continuously experience such problems? When it comes to the political killings task team and they are being roped into most of these investigations, the killings that have happened so far, are they not being stretched thin in terms of resources? Because in terms of number, it didn't seem like there were quite a lot of members that make up that particular team. Thank you.
I think we can say there's no evidence that suggests to derail, but we are stable in the country.
Okay. We'll give you guys another opportunity. Let's give the chairperson an opportunity to respond to those questions.
Oh, thank you very much, Brigadier Mate and members of the media. Perhaps starting with the last question, Junior, on the political killing task team. You will recall that the mandate of the team was also expanded to look at some of that which we believe are politically motivated. And on the areas where they have been called in, it's exactly on that mandate. So it is what we knew when it happens, the political task team will move swiftly. And we'll also recall that we also expanded this team in Gauteng as well as the Eastern Cape. So there are teams. We also trained some of members and we deployed them to other parts of the country. But equally linked to this team It's the organized crime strategy that we spoke about, and that it's been led by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. That is also monitoring and assisting the team. On the issues of whether anti-foreigner sentiments is linked to the upcoming election, there is no evidence that we can talk about. However, we are observing all events and activities leading to the elections. Over time, during the time of elections, there will be mushrooming of some of the incidents or activities. And if you will recall, the weekly anti-foreigner sentiments pronouncement that was done by some of these civil society groups was that it will continue on a weekly basis until November. Surely, if you are intelligence analyst, you need to draw your mind towards the election and this particular statement. But I want to come back to say, I cannot say to you or the nation today that we are linking anti-foreigner sentiments with the election. Anything is possible. Hence, we are continuing to collect, analyze, and provide intelligence on any other mushrooming or erection of any activity across the country. The voter registration week, I think both yourself and the previous question from Calvin, by not seeing a van or seeing a police in uniform doesn't mean the police is not there. We have adopted as NATJOINTS the 5-pillar approach. The first pillar of our operational is to collect intelligence, to analyze intelligence, and advise the operations accordingly. They may not be there when you were there, but it doesn't mean that the police were not there. We had in the week or over the weekend, for a period of 7 days, have been observing the elections, and we are or were using this registration as a drill towards the November elections. We categorize the security levels of voting stations and we deploy accordingly. Where there is no need for static, it's because the intelligence is advising as such. Where there is a need for a static deployment, it will also be determined by the level of challenges or security challenges, where at some you will see more members and at some you will see less. In the identified more than 26,000 VS that will be policing over the coming LGE, we have 3 categories thereof, which will be the high security alert areas, which we normally communicate as our hotspots, and we do the deployment accordingly. I cannot at this point or at any closer point give numbers because I don't know at the time what will be happening. Every day we get intelligence and it advises how we should do the deployment. On the observation of the Durban Councillor matter, I did indicate that the team is taking over that investigation and will continue to monitor their operation. As we speak, there is a strong team that is in KZN, and it will continue to operate until we close all the gaps.
Okay, all good.
Preparedness, my apology, we are prepared as I've indicated, and in the priority committee that is working on LGE, we work alongside the IEC. I think they have given that assurance to the country on their cooperation and working together with the security forces of the country. So we are working together, and we have been working together with IEC in the previous elections. Thank you.
Any other questions, colleagues? I think this will be the last round as we wrap up. 3 minutes. Thanks. Last question.
Calvin Rudaken from SABC News. This one goes to the South African National Defence Force. Their role during registration weekend, their role in preparations to upcoming local government elections. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin, for the question. One of our roles is to ensure that we provide utility helicopters that will be able to transport and secure voter equipment to support the local government elections or IEC logistically where it's required. We are also training some of the SANDF members to be IEC officials in the event that there's an issue with those that are appointed as IEC officials. That's just a government backup plan. But we will also secure the voter registration together with the police, and we will, where is required, we will then do the escorting of those to where the counting will be taking place. And that's basically the role that we will be playing during local government elections. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. That was Major General Joseph Jalisi from the SANDF. Are there any other questions, colleagues? But I think in the interest of time, thank you so much for joining us. And you can now tune into the IEC briefing that is expected to start in a minute's time. Thank you, colleagues.
Can I reiterate on something?
Okay. Parting shot from the chairperson.
Thank you, Brigadier Mati and members of the media. I think the composition of NATJOINTS in itself speaks volume in terms of the role that these departments that are co-chairing the NATJOINTS are concerned. And from time to time, we do reiterate the fact that SANDF, based on the intelligence, plays a supporting role to the South African Police Service, who are in the forefront or in the front line of policing. So we will not unnecessarily deploy the SANDF unless the intelligence dictates as such. Equally, we do have different operational areas with different requirements, including the safeguarding of the critical infrastructure, which requires that we need to adjust our plans while we relieve some of the deployments at some of the areas. We augment or supplement them with the level that will be required in those areas. South African National Defence Force remain responsible and also accountable to ensure that within the borders of the country there is safety, there is stability alongside the South African Police Service. Thank you.
Once again, thank you, colleagues. As you have heard from the NATJOINTS chair and the co-chair, we are ready to police the local government elections. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, General.
Thank you. Let me run back to the views. Okay.